This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Tuesday, October 2nd. First day of October was pretty damn good. We got a whole bunch of stuff, which we'll talk about in a second, what went on in the aftermarket. And then overall this morning, definitely looking a little bit slow. But before we get into things, let's just remember a few things going on. We have our workshop that's going to be October 10th. So let's make sure if you're not signed up, you get signed up for that. And then also we have Traders Exchange today at 12:30. Remember, TE at aheadofthecharts.com. Make sure you send any of your questions and topics to that email, and we will be going over those at, like I said, 12:30 this afternoon. All right, so let's take a look at what went on in the aftermarket yesterday. So IGC, I told you guys in closing bell meeting, I held, a little bit, nothing crazy, but I held a little bit overnight. And I ended up not holding it overnight because it was just, it just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Remember, our price target was 10, all right, as we were coming into the close yesterday. We came up to that 9 level. 9 had some really nice ask prints on it, and our price target was that 10 level. All right, but we talked about how much buying that came in at that 8 level. We wouldn't be shocked if it didn't stop at 10, and this thing just went on a tear. It's crazy too because it was, it was trading almost, about 100,000 shares in the aftermarket, so it almost looked like it was trading like a normal stock was coming in. So this morning, well, obviously we're going to see a lot of profit taking. I mean, there's no question about that. But this morning, not really showing us signs of it having to go back up yet. If we come back over here, you can see at this 1050 level, we actually got a whole bunch of selling that came into it. Nice big burst right here. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them kind of push it back up again, just to kind of unload shares on people and bring this thing back down underneath that 1050. I'm not seeing any real good signs of it having to continue back up there. All right, but then let's go over to NBEV, which is a little bit different. So NBEV, same type of deal yesterday in the aftermarket. This thing pushed all the way up to that 10 level. Remember, NBEV was about the same price as IGC, but it didn't have even close to as much buying at that 8 level that we saw coming into this NBEV. So what ended up happening is we got up to that 10. Okay, basically pretty much, got sold off. But one thing that I have been seeing is if we come back down here, I hope it lets me go. We have some decent new buying that came in at this 8 level on its way back up. You can see 847, so right about here, give or take. Right about here, we did get some, some new buying, some new show of hand that shows us that there's, people out there that are taking a, pretty hefty position in it, looking for it to come back up. Now, we did have some selling that came into 750 that really wasn't satisfied as much as I would have liked to see it. But overall, it definitely shows us that we have some, an opportunity for it. So, the likely spot for this dropping underneath that selling would have been pretty much right around this 7 level where we have our print line. Okay, our print line is at 688. So right around the kind of that 7 level, I would be expecting this thing to fall back down. And then we're going to have to kind of take it from there. Remember, we talked about this and used the analogy of a sprinter versus someone running a marathon. A lot of times when we see these stocks go on a sprint, it's very short-lived. You can't sprint an entire marathon. All right. So that's kind of showing us exactly what's happening right now. We got that sprint up that came in, towards the end of the close and then into the aftermarket, and now it's gonna need a break. But like I said, we definitely have some new buying there, but I'm still expecting it to fall back down for selling we had at 750, and then those ask prints that we had at that 8. Speak for yourself. If I sprint in all my dreams. All right, and then the only other thing that I really see out there, and it's nothing too spectacular, but OGEN. So far yesterday, yesterday made a pretty decent move. I mean, it wasn't anything too crazy, but we got a real, for such a cheap stock, a high percentage move. And this morning coming back in, we did get some really good new buying that came in at that 2 level, which it's hopefully lets me go back. Yeah, so we have some real nice bursts that came in here, right, about 840, right in that area, and even above it, we've been getting some good buying coming in there. So there's no reason that we can't see this thing go on a pretty decent run. Once again, $2 stock, so it's up 30% right now. It's showing new buying that's still coming in, even this high up, jumping up a little bit from yesterday's close. Okay, we closed at 160, where 40-cent move, 50-cent move on such a cheap stock is a very, very big move. So certainly something that that could definitely give us some decent a decent run coming in. It's nothing spectacular yet, but it certainly has all the variables that we're looking for, for it to be able to get back up and break past this resistance that we saw earlier this morning. Data has ask prints at 4 and has pulled back. Okay. All right, and then another thing looking at is AMD this morning. But, not too much of a show of hand pretty much in anything. But if we come back down here, you can see we did get some nice ask prints at that 31 level. So nothing too crazy. So the pullback shouldn't be huge, but we're going to be expecting it to fall underneath that 31 and then, coming back over that to satisfy the buying that we had there. For AMD, that's not anything really special yet, but it's one of the only things that I really did see out there. So a few other things that we're going to be taking a look at. Because there's, like I said, there's just not much going on out there, is Facebook. So Facebook, we know the story. We know, what we've been seeing. We've been seeing them hiding something, and for some reason, just not really showing us exactly what they're looking to do at their levels. But we also know that at 160.50 and 161.50, we have a lot of selling that came into this stock. All right, we gapped down overnight, closed at 162.44. We came all the way back down underneath 160.50, but those prints have not been satisfied. And even if technically that it has been satisfied, you could see the volume down here. The volume that was there, there's no way in the world that anyone that was that amount of selling could have been covered during this time frame. So we know that in this case, just because it fell underneath, it has not been satisfied yet. And that's pretty much all I got. Let's take a look at our scanners. Let's see if we have anything else that's jumping out there, but I don't see that happening. Oh, DDTA you're talking about. I was like, data? I have no idea what that is. DTA ask prints at 4. Okay. All right. That makes a lot more sense. But coming back down, we also had, those prints at 350. It's a little bit kind of all over the place, so we'll see what goes on with this one. We'll put a DTEA on our side list. Not something I'm probably going to end up focusing on. Once the market opens, we'll be able to find some better stuff that's going to be going on out there. Continuing down, we have OGEN. Absolutely, we've already spoken about. Excuse me. IGC, we already know about. LEVB, 293,000 shares. We can see just absolute garbage trading going on there. And that is pretty much it. Coming up, PBR, just not doing anything. Oh, let's see if C is still there. I want to show everyone something, and I hope, crap. So I was looking at C's earlier today, just earlier this morning. I wanted to show you guys something, and unfortunately now there are 372 shares that have been traded. But, okay, it closed at 30, and this morning it was at 30.50. Okay, and if we look like right here, it was at 30.50, but there was no actual volume that was being traded. And I just wanted to point out, okay, that doesn't happen often, especially when the market opens, because when stocks are trading, they move mostly because buying or selling. But there are certain times where you just the actual orders themselves being moved will move what the actual price of the stock is. And this was one of those cases because it had closed at 30, but then all they did was move an order or put an order out there at 30.50 on the ask, and that's what the actual price is. Okay, so the stock technically jumped 50 cents with no buying or no selling. It was just really interesting to look at. SFIX, let's take a look. Let's see. This is a very odd bar that's right down here. 447,000 shares. It's not looking too bad, actually. I mean, it's got a really good range coming out there. The orders are very thin, but we're sitting in the pre-market. I don't really see much of it. I mean, that's not terrible. Coming to 35.50. It's a little bit mixed on that sell side. A little bit of a mixed level coming in there, but no, it's not bad at all. Definitely want to see a little bit better of a show of hands somewhere because it is a little bit mixed, but I like it. Yeah, definitely. SFIX. And based off of the volume that we usually trade, we have about 3.6 million. Yeah, we should definitely get a bigger range. On average, it trades $2.34. So that's a good one. Good call, Adam. TLRY, as we saw yesterday, it was supposed to have a lot more room down from where we saw at that 160 coming in. And it did not disappoint, okay? But we still have some room towards that downside. You can see the buying that came in this morning, just not really much. TLRY, you'll be able to trade almost every single day until it becomes a stock that doesn't do anything anymore. Because, I mean, on average, we don't have an average there yet, but yesterday it moved $21.21. So this thing coming back underneath that 120 where we saw all those ask prints could happen literally in 2 days. It could happen in 1 day, to be complete. I mean, we've seen this stock move up over $100 within a day. So certainly something to look at, just no real prints out there yet that I see that I would really be going on. CLRB, Let's take a look. I was looking at this before, and it actually looks a lot better. I didn't even look at it as right before 9 o'clock. It is looking a little bit better. Let's see if we have any prints going on out there. 450, you have some decent new buying. It's not really. 420 at 851 coming back in. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have some good buying that came back in there. No real great show of hand yet, but certainly something we'll put on our side list. Let's just hope that, you know, that buying that just came in, that selling didn't just offset it almost immediately, because it wasn't a major level sitting there at 420. But yeah, definitely. CLRB, you guys are getting a lot better at finding these things. Other than that, guys, that pretty much, oh, one other thing, SQ, okay? Don't forget about SQ. We still have some really great buying at 100. So we know yesterday, you know, we saw a whole bunch of selling and it kind of jumped up from that selling, but there's still prints there. So SQ is going to be a good trade. It's just a matter of getting that show of hand out there. And make sure that you're not, that you don't forget about it, because we should definitely, especially after it hit that 100, we've been getting a little bit bigger of a range, and $4.55 compared to when it, $3.19. That's a pretty drastic difference. So keep your eyes on that as well. All right, guys. So I will talk to everyone in the chat room. Also, don't forget about sending your questions to te@aheadofthecharts.com for our Traders Exchange at 12:30 Eastern, and I will talk to you all then. Happy trading.